Okay, welcome back. Today we're going to discuss some Jungian archetypes, particularly king, warrior, magician, and lover. So, just looking at the warrior archetype, warriors are characterized, let's say, particularly by their fierceness. They could be considered energetic, maybe they're initiators, they have some sort of purpose, they're adaptable, minimalist, right? So we have two really good examples here. We have Okoye from the Black Panther film from Marvel, and then you have King Leonidas from the film 300. So warriors, obviously they're definitely about conflict and about aggression, but they're also about hard rules, right? And so maybe we see this in our personal life when we're interacting with people who, they can be very dominant in social situations, or they can be very like rule oriented in the box of this is the procedure and this is how we do things and we stay like this, or maybe people who are very much understanding of, let's say, you're here and I'm here and you need to treat me that way, right? So this is the warrior archetype. Okay, let's move on. Next, we have the magician archetype. So magicians are characterized in two major ways. One is the holder of secret or hidden knowledge, and then the other is the initiator. So we have the sorceress supreme from the Doctor Strange Marvel film, and then we have Gandalf here from the Lord of the Rings series. And again, these are two characters who very similar to actually from the King Arthur story, like Merlin. They come into the picture, they have some sort of information that isn't readily accessible, and they're able to initiate people into things, right? So Gandalf, for sure, he comes in and out of the story, and it's not obvious where he got all of his knowledge from. It's not obvious how he has, this friendship with the elves and with the dwarves and with all these other groups of people and the hobbits and whatnot. Whereas the sorceress supreme, for sure, she's the initiator, right? She initiates people into the society that they have in Doctor Strange, where then they get access to the secret knowledge, and with that knowledge, they can do whatever they so desire, right? So that last sentence there, they're able to transform things without substance into things of value, right? So really think of like alchemists turning lead into gold, right? And that's the magician archetype. Next, we have lovers. So one of the examples I thought of was Pocahontas, and the other one is Jaskier from the Witcher series. And so this is not to be confused with, let's say, romantic or sexual love, but the true lover transcends the physical. The lover archetype is one that is connected with the entire universe, with this energy that brings us all together, and they're not afraid of letting go of their attachment to their self-conscious. This is an archetype that I particularly struggle with, and I find it hard to leave that kind of logical brain, and just to connect with things, let's say, in the flow of energy that exists around us. And I thought that these were two really good examples of that. Okay, moving on to the last one here, we have the king or queen, which is characterized primarily by its access to the other archetypes. So the king or queen character knows when to use these different archetypes and when to be, the magician, when to be the lover, when to be the warrior, and when to be the king, right? The one that people come to with their problems and they solve them. So we have Mufasa from The Lion King. I think it's a really good example of a king. And then I think Natasha Romanoff, again from the Marvel series, going back to that, is a really good example of queen energy. Both these characters, they know how to fight, they know how to be fierce and recognize the rules, they know how to connect with that around them as well. And then, I'm forgetting the third one. And then magician as well, they have this access to secret knowledge, to initiating, to connecting with other people, particularly like Natasha, especially with her most recent individual standalone film, where you get to learn about her background, you get to see she has all these connections to getting, weapons and planes and whatnot and whatever access. Whereas, Mufasa, his lover shows in his relationship with his son, right? He's able to just let go of his king duties and connect with his son as a father. And his warrior when he's dealing with, whether it be Scar or with the hyenas, particularly in this movie. And then the magician of, he knows the right people, and he has good people around him, and he can transform, everything into new life and whatnot. So last slide here. So how does this affect you and what can you do with this information? Well, the key to a healthy psyche or mind would be to develop traits from all of the archetypes. Carl Jung, he didn't intend for this to be like the zodiac of like, particularly myself, I'm a Cancer. And it's not like, hey, I'm a king and that's what I do. Rather, it's supposed to be, you developing yourself and learning how to be in these different modes, right? Additionally, even understanding these things, so even looking at the connection. So kings and magicians go along, right? Again, the Arthurian legends are really good for this. You have King Arthur, who's literally the king, and then you have Merlin, who's literally a magician. And these are archetypes, and they really connect and pull to one another. Whereas warriors and lovers go hand in hand, right? And that story is told in numerous. So you could even think of, let's say, oh, I'm forgetting. I mean, it's very common. I was actually just watching Gladiator, and so you have Maximus, who's a gladiator. He's very much like a warrior, and he has this magnetic pull towards the princess. Let's call her. I forget her name, but you see these connections, and often in my own life, sometimes I find, hey, I'm not really getting along with this person. There's a bit of friction. It's not that we're against one another, but it's like two pieces of the cog that aren't connecting. And when I reflect, I think and I realize, like, hey, that's probably because this person has the same archetypical energy as me. And so they're wanting the same thing as me. And if that's the case, I can't provide that for them because I'm seeking that as well. So I think for myself, I'm primarily in the king energy. I think it's easy for me to sit back, access different types of archetypes. When I did my trip, I traveled around the world. I was fortunate enough to do that. That was me accessing magician and to an extent a bit of lover as well with the way I presented myself. And when I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 3 years, that was me accessing warrior as well. And so king is where I kind of naturally fit. I like when people come to me and ask for help, and I really find myself as someone who I'll go sit at an empty table, and if I sit alone, that's fine. But I've found more often than not that usually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 people will be surrounding me. And not to put that in a selfish or odd way, but I really enjoy that. And so, again, the key here is to develop these traits within ourselves. I mean, this is just a very quick PowerPoint. You can find a really good book about King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. I don't have the link to that in this presentation, but to learn more about these archetypes, to develop them within ourselves, and then to then understand who is where and how to bring those people together and how to connect better with those people. Okay, that's all from me today. Thank you. Have a good day. Take care.